Hello students, myself Dinkar Satonkar again welcomes all of you in this part 5 of the chapter motion of 9th class physics. Today in this part 5 we will try to understand the concept of speed and velocity. Up till part 4 you have studied up to what is called as the uniform and non-uniform motion of an object. So in this particular part we are going to study about speed and velocity when an object performing the motion. So let's try to understand first what is called as the speed of an object. This speed word is we all of you are acquainted with this word speed in day-to-day life. Also we used to say this word speed when we are moving from one place to another place, maybe on bike or in the car. So we refer this word that increase the speed or decrease the speed. In this sense we use this word speed when we are moving, when we are traveling by our vehicle. So when the motion of the object, the motion of the different objects are considered, different objects which travels with the different speed. So some objects, to cover the distance it requires less time. For some objects it takes more time to travel that same distance. Let's take an example. Suppose I want to travel 1000 meter of distance from one point to another point. So if I go by walk, then I would take more time, because when I go by walk, then my speed, this particular speed word appears to be here, my speed is less. But if suppose instead of going by walk, if suppose we are going by bicycle, then the time required to move that particular 1000 meter distance will be less. In comparison of the bicycle, if suppose we are moving with a bike, then as compared to the bicycle and as compared to the going by walk, the time required by going that 1000 meter distance with the help of bike, again it will require less time. So basically when we talk about the speed of the object, we are talking about the distance covered by the object and the time required to complete that distance. That is called as the speed. So if you see the definition of the speed, we can say that speed is defined as the distance traveled by the body per unit time. This per unit time word is important over, that's why I have underlined this particular word. So the object with the distance which is traveled by the object, definitely that object requires some time to travel that particular distance. So in a unit time, how much distance is traveled by the object, that is called as the speed. So if we want to write the formula of the speed, speed is equals to distance traveled divided by the time taken. Now if we write the formula in notation form, then the speed will be represented by v, distance is represented by s, and the time taken is represented by t alphabet, that is small letter alphabet t. So our formula for speed becomes as v is equals to s divided by t. There are some important points which are necessary for the better understanding of the concept of the speed. So basically speed is a scalar quantity. Now we have very well idea of what are called as the scalar quantities and which are called as the vector quantities. So amongst that, speed is a scalar quantity. Now why it is a scalar quantity? Because we can express the speed by only magnitude. There is no requirement of any direction for the effective representation of the speed. That's why speed is a scalar quantity. Now unit of the speed is, in MKS system unit system, it is meter per second, which can also be written as ms to the power minus 1. In CGS system it will be centimeter per second, or it can also be written as centimeter s to the power minus 1. Or in general language, when we use this unit for our day-to-day purpose use of unit of the speed, then the unit which is used for the speed is nothing but kilometer per hour. Now particularly kilometer per hour, this unit is used for the objects which are moving with the high speed. So when the object covers more distance in less interval of time, then this particular kilometer per hour unit is being used. The speed of the body is usually not constant. This is our experience, that sometimes we have to increase the speed, sometimes we have to decrease the speed. So we can say that in normal life, or in general motion, if you consider, the speed of the body is usually not constant. So when the speed is not constant, so we have to take the average speed. Suppose we are going from one station to another station, or one town to another town, suppose, then sometimes we have to increase the speed of our vehicle, sometimes we have to decrease the speed of our vehicle. So all the way during the motion of the object, the speed may not be the constant. So in that case, we have to use the average speed concept to particular representation of the speed of that particular object. So average speed can also be represented as total distance covered divided by the total time taken. Actually this is the speed, but this is an average speed. If we take the entire motion of the object, during this entire motion the speed is not constant, that's why I have to consider the average speed. But the unit for average speed and the speed is same over here. Now there is one another concept so far as the speed is concerned, that is nothing but instantaneous speed. Now instantaneous speed, the word instantaneous itself represent that it is at a particular instant of time. So when we consider the speed of an object at a particular instant of time, that concept of the speed is called as instantaneous speed. The speed of the object at a particular instant of time or particular instance of time is called as an instantaneous speed. Instantaneous speed is also represented with v, but one suffix instantaneous has been attached over here so that we can understand that this is an instantaneous speed. So instantaneous speed is represented as delta s divided by delta t, where delta, this particular symbol, is used for the representation that this quantity is nothing but instantaneous, and this quantity of the time as instantaneous at that particular instant of the time. So this delta represent that it is an instantaneous. Now all your vehicles, maybe it is a bike, maybe it is a car, or any moving vehicle over there, it is enabled with the speedometer, a type of meter which represents how fast or how slow your vehicle is moving. So the speedometer of your vehicle shows the instantaneous speed. Now the indicator of the speedometer may be showing here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever it may be. So that particular indicating instantaneous speed. So speedometer of your vehicle indicates the instantaneous speed. Now let's take an example that how the speed can be calculated by one small numerically over here. Now consider a bike. If a bike covers first 60 km in 2 hours and next 60 km in 3 hours, then we have to calculate the average speed of that particular bike. So we know that the formula for average speed is nothing but total distance covered divided by total time taken. So I can calculate here as average speed is equals to this first 60 km, in first instance it is covered 60 km, in second instance it is covered 60 km. For first 60 kilometers it took 2 hours, for next 60 kilometers it took 3 hours. So I have to add the distances, and as well as I have to add the time also. So 60 plus 60 and divided by the total time taken, that is nothing but 3 plus 2, so it is 120. Total distance covered is 120 kilometer, and the total time required is nothing but 5 hours. So obviously the average speed of this particular bike is 24 km per hour.